Stranger Things ends the only way it ever could. Loud, emotional, terrifying, and strangely hopeful. Episode 8, titled The Right Side Up, doesn't waste a single second easing us in. From the opening moments, the show throws every character, every theme, and every ounce of emotional weight into one final confrontation against Vecna, the Mind Flayer, and the darkness that's haunted Hawkins since Season 1. By this point, talking is over. Plans are already made. Everyone knows their role. This is the endgame. Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master, and today we're breaking down the Stranger Things Season 5 finale ending, explaining what really happened, who survives, who doesn't, and what it all means for the legacy of the series. 11, Callie, and Max dive straight into Henry's mind, confronting Vecna at the source, while Hopper and Murray prepare a bomb capable of destroying the Upside Down itself. Meanwhile, the rest of the party braces to descend into the abyss to rescue the kidnapped children. The Duffer Brothers described this episode as the climax of a Dungeons & Dragons campaign, and that energy is everywhere. Every character brings their unique skill set, every relationship pays off, and every choice feels earned. The final battle begins. The emotional core of the episode lies in the idea that Vecna and the Mind Flayer can only be defeated if everyone works together. This isn't 11 saving the world alone. It's the culmination of 5 seasons of friendship, trauma, and growth. As 11 and Callie confront Henry and Kamazatz, it becomes clear that this fight isn't just physical, it's psychological, emotional, and deeply personal. Henry is forced to relive memories he spent his entire life running from, particularly the one hidden deep inside the cave. At the same time, Hopper and Murray operate on borrowed time. Their mission to destroy the Upside Down hinges on detonating the interdimensional bridge, a final act that could trap or kill anyone still inside. The tension comes not from whether they'll try, but from whether everyone can make it back before the clock runs out. The Abyss and the Truth of the Pain Tree. When the Hawkins crew finally reaches the Abyss, they're confronted with one of the show's most horrifying reveals. What they believe to be the Pain Tree, the structure imprisoning kidnapped children, is actually the Mind Flayer itself. The branches twist into massive spider-like limbs, transforming the environment into a living monster. It's a visual reminder that the Upside Down has always been a predator, not just a place. This battle is pure teamwork. Nancy draws the Mind Flayer's attention with gunfire, acting as bait. Jonathan and Robin attack from above using fire and falling debris. Lucas launches balloon accelerants, Mike ignites them with a flare gun, and Dustin and Steve stab the creature's egg sacs from below. Every callback matters. Every weapon has a history. And when the Mind Flayer finally falls, it feels less like a victory lap and more like collective survival.
But you two were goners for a minute there!
The Henry origin and the scientist's briefcase. One of the finale's most chilling revelations finally answers a long-standing mystery. Inside the cave Henry fears lies the memory of a scientist he murdered as a child. When Henry opens the man's briefcase, he finds a strange rock infused with Mind Flayer particles. That moment changes everything. The Mind Flayer doesn't just find Henry later, it finds him first. The possession robs Henry of his childhood, his humanity, and his chance at a normal life. The scientist's final warning that the entity will consume him echoes throughout the episode. It reframes Vecna not just as a villain, but as a tragic figure shaped by forces beyond his understanding. Still, tragedy doesn't equal redemption, and the show never pretends it does. Who really kills Vecna? As the Mind Flayer falls, the focus shifts entirely to Vecna. 11 comes close to ending him herself, driving his body through a spire after Will manages to overpower him mentally. Will's role here is crucial. He recognizes himself in Henry, someone who was tempted by darkness but chose to fight it instead. For a brief moment, it feels like redemption might be possible, but Vecna refuses it. He insists that joining the Mind Flayer was his choice, that humanity is broken, and that destruction is the only answer. That's when Joyce steps in. With no hesitation and no mercy, she beheads Vecna with her axe, delivering the final blow with the unforgettable line, "You fucked with the wrong family." It's the perfect choice. Joyce was the first person to believe something was wrong back in Season 1. She was the first to fight. Ending Vecna's story with her reinforces the idea that Stranger Things has always been about parents and children fighting together, not just kids saving the world. Was Vecna the master or the pawn? The finale intentionally leaves one question open to interpretation. Was Vecna controlling the Mind Flayer, or was the Mind Flayer controlling Vecna? Will believes Henry was manipulated, led down the same path he himself once walked. Henry insists otherwise. He claims the Mind Flayer simply showed him the truth about the world. The Duffer Brothers leave it ambiguous on purpose. Whether Henry chose evil or was consumed by it doesn't change the outcome. In the end, he chose to stand with the Mind Flayer, and that choice sealed his fate. Redemption was possible, but he refused it. The Upside Down's destruction. With Vecna and the Mind Flayer defeated, the mission turns into a race for survival. Hopper and Murray set the bomb using Prince's Purple Rain as the trigger, a strangely beautiful choice that underscores the bittersweet nature of what's about to happen. As the song plays, the wormhole collapses, and the bridge between worlds is destroyed. The Upside Down doesn't just close, it's erased. This moment feels monumental because it represents the end of fear, but also the end of an era. Hawkins will never be the same, but for the first time in years, it's finally safe. 11's sacrifice. The most heartbreaking moment of the finale comes when 11 doesn't return with the others. Kali had suggested earlier that staying behind might be the only way to prevent future experiments and supernatural disasters. 11 makes that choice herself. As the Upside Down collapses, 11 pulls Mike into the void for one last goodbye. There are no grand speeches, just love, fear, and acceptance. Mike's scream as she disappears is raw and devastating, a reminder that heroism often comes at an unbearable cost. Whether 11 truly dies is left intentionally unclear. During the final D&D game, Mike tells a hopeful story about Kali casting one last illusion so 11 can escape and live anonymously somewhere far away. The group chooses to believe it, and that belief matters more than the truth. The final Dungeons & Dragons game. The series ends exactly where it began, in the Wheelers' basement around a Dungeons & Dragons table. Will, Mike, Dustin, Lucas, and Max finish their final campaign together. There's no looming threat, no ticking clock, just friends, imagination, and closure. As they leave the basement, Holly Wheeler and her friends rush in to start their own campaign. It's a quiet but powerful moment. Childhood doesn't last forever, but stories do. The torch is passed, and the cycle continues. Where the kids end up. Mike's final D&D narration gives us a glimpse into everyone's future. Max and Lucas finally get their movie date and eventually build a life together. Dustin heads to university, but never stops adventuring with Steve. Will finds acceptance and love in a bigger city, free from the isolation that haunted his childhood. Mike becomes a writer, turning the stories that saved him into something lasting. Each ending feels true to the character. No one becomes famous or powerful. They just find happiness in their own way. The older teens' futures. The older teens also find their paths. Steve stays in Hawkins, coaching Little League and guiding the next generation, proving that his strength was never about fighting monsters, but protecting people. Robin attends Smith College, embracing her intelligence and individuality. Nancy leaves Emerson to work at the Boston Herald, choosing impact over prestige. Jonathan studies filmmaking at NYU, creating strange, subversive art that reflects his worldview. Despite going their separate ways, they promise to meet once a month at Robin's uncle's house, a small but meaningful reminder that some bonds never fade. Hopper and Joyce's happy ending. After years of trauma and loss, Hopper and Joyce finally get peace. Their long-awaited date at Enzo's ends with Hopper proposing and Joyce saying yes without hesitation. They plan a move to Montauk, New York, a subtle nod to the show's original concept. Hopper returns to law enforcement as chief of police, and Joyce finally gets the life she's been fighting for since season 1. A world that keeps turning. Even minor characters get their moment. Ted Wheeler survives, injured but alive, and attends Mike's graduation. Life continues. Hawkins heals. The world moves on. The final credits roll to David Bowie's Heroes, bringing the show full circle. It's a reminder that for a brief moment, ordinary people can do extraordinary things. Stranger Things doesn't end with a twist or a cliffhanger. It ends with closure, legacy, and the quiet understanding that growing up means letting go, but never forgetting where you started. Our nerdy thoughts. And that's where Stranger Things finally leaves us, not with another monster lurking in the shadows, but with closure, growth, and the echo of childhood fading into memory. Hawkins is safe, the Upside Down is gone, and the characters we grew up with have stepped into their next chapters, carrying the scars, the love, and the stories that saved them. Whether you believe Eleven truly survived or lives on only in the memories of her friends, one thing is clear: this journey was always about the people, not the monsters. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Stranger Things Season 5 finale, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your own thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, keep rolling the dice, keep believing in your party, and stay nerdy.
This was my idea, and this is my house. Holly, you told me this was not going to be nerdy.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.